I mean, yeah, I want to celebrate it because even though it is far, far too late, even though there shouldn't have been a vaccine mandate in the first place, I think this is positive. So we're going to celebrate that. Obviously, I'm troubled by the timing because nothing has changed from when this vaccine mandate went into effect in the fall of 2021. We knew in the fall of 2021 that vaccines did not prevent the spread of COVID and they did not prevent people from getting COVID. So at that stage, I mean, August, September, and remember we talked to Ari Hoffman about how internal emails between health officials in our state acknowledged that no, vaccines aren't going to be our path out like we thought. Breakthrough cases are becoming far too common. And so when they moved forward with the vaccine mandate anyway, there was no basis for it. There was truly no basis for it except them feeling like they needed to protect people from themselves. Because to me, still, the only lasting benefit of the vaccine, the only redeeming quality of the vaccine was that there did seem to be data showing that you had a smaller risk of getting seriously ill or dying. It wasn't zero, but it was smaller. That's the only data that I've really seen kind of proven time and time again. So it's basically the government saying, oh, we're going to protect you from yourself, which is ridiculous. And then they put people out of work. So there's a few questions that this leaves for Seattle and King County. One of them is what happens to the people who got fired? I mean, we had firefighters, we had police officers, we had metro workers, we had a lot of people. In the grand scheme of the number of city and county employees, was it a lot? No, it was like 3% total. But that's still people who were put out of work. So the mayor's office, and this is according to the Seattle Times, says 174 city employees were fired as a result of the mandate. They use the phrase separated. Yeah, they were fired, okay? And they can now apply for vacant positions at the city. So I don't know if that means, I think there's still, an SPD said this in a statement, there's a lot of questions about how they proceed. Because what if you were fired, your position is not there anymore? Do you get tenure when you come back? Is there back pay, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? So there are a lot of unanswered questions about that. But, you know, in their statement about why they're doing this now, the King County executive says, health officials tell us that there's enough immunity in the community. What, immunity from what? Are you now acknowledging natural immunity? Are you claiming that the vaccine gives you immunity? That doesn't make any sense. Neither of those things make sense. One, you never really acknowledge natural immunity in a significant way. Are you acknowledging it now? And then, you know, vaccines don't provide immunity. So is the state going to follow suit? The state of Washington? You know, Governor Jay Inslee has been very steadfast that this is the right thing for the state. His spokesperson told the Seattle Times there's no plans to modify or remove the existing mandate for state employees. Does he stick to that? I don't know. I mean, he's just lost another sort of, I don't believe there's any remaining legitimate reasons to keep the state mandate. But now you have the most progressive city and county in the state that have decided, and they're claiming based on the science and what health officials are telling them, that you don't need this anymore. And so how can the governor justify it? Because like kind of his own party, his own people are saying we don't need it anymore. I don't know if he'll wait for old Gavin Newsom in California. I don't know what the current situation is in California, but it seems like we don't do anything until those states do something. But it's really a shame to hear and to read that in light of this, the state has no plans to lift its mandate, because that's just ridiculous. I mean, you now have people who agree with you politically who are saying there's no necessity for it. So it's positive news. Really happy to hear it. I don't know what the motivation is. It's got to be something, right? I tend to think they were waiting for enough daylight between when they first issued it and now to look like they're backing away from it for scientific reasons and to not like look like idiots. But there was no justification for it in the first place. They could have incentivized it from the onset. They should have just incentivized it from the onset. Instead, they let go of hardworking, dedicated public servants, police officers at a time of rising crime, firefighters at a time of record overdoses and calls that they need to go to. So it was ridiculous and really, truly shame on them for not reversing course sooner.